So today we are going to be doing our Pretty Little Liars finale reaction video because I put up a reaction to the last finale, didn't I? No, I put up a video saying who is A, and then was completely smashed to pieces in the last finale because everything was wrong.
Such a good theory, and the writers just
there was so much there. Like, okay, for people who overanalyze, like, that show would have been so amazing if they had made Ezra A.
I mean, right, if they just listened to us.
If they just did what we said, the show would be amazing. We thought that Nate was obviously shady, like super creepy, that he was the stalker ex, all of that stuff. We thought, what did we think? Did we think he was A? No, we just thought he was creepy.
No, we just thought he was like creepy and that was going to be the one big reveal. Playing Paige too suspicious.
Yeah, so
it wasn't going to be her.
No, I think the writers do a lot of like trying to make you think it's someone, especially the day before the finale. They were like, went so hardcore into Paige that we were like, okay, it's clearly not going to be Paige. They are just overplaying this like crazy. And yeah, Paige definitely seems a little psychotic. Like, she wants to wear Emily's face, basically. She's like way too in love with her. And I'm sorry, if I found out someone was in love with me before they tried to drown me, I would be a little concerned.
And had a weird relationship with the friend of mine that was killed.
That I was in love with?
Didn't mention it ever.
Right. Like, there's just too many things like, oh, so I tweeted him like, Emily, I can't even with you. Like, Emily is just so dumb, and I've had enough of her dumbness. And it's not that I thought Paige was like bad or anything. It's just Emily does really stupid things. Like, if your friends are that concerned over someone, like, oh, I don't know, maybe you should take note of it. Or then, why are you going to spend a weekend away in a cabin with someone that you don't really know, who made a move on you, and you turned it down and they got weird about it?
Right.
Don't go then spend the night with him in a weird place.
You
like,
only heard that he's Maya's cousin from him. Maya never mentioned him. Her family didn't say anything.
You're supposedly going with Maya's parents, then why don't you call Maya's parents to verify? Like, just saying, I would use precautions, people. So we have, I don't know if it's like a theory with Caleb, but we're just kind of thinking, like, there is no way Nate shot Caleb. I'm sorry. If he died from his injury, like the stab wounds, if you're on the ground bleeding to death, there's no way you're like, oh no, I suddenly have extra human strength to pick up this gun and shoot you in my last attempt. Like,
not gonna happen.
No way. If he was dying on the ground, there's no way he got that much muscle to fully pick himself up, jump for the gun, lean forward, and shoot. Like, it takes strength to even shoot a gun.
Right.
So there's no way that he was like dead a couple seconds later.
Were cut. Like, there's
no way. And so what I'm kind of thinking, especially too, like during the beginning of the show, and she's like, is that gun loaded? I kind of think his gun wasn't loaded because he didn't answer that question. So I think it's going to come out that Caleb's gun wasn't loaded.
Yep.
He just set it down and someone shot him. As far as Toby being A, I have no idea how I feel about this. Like, it's totally split for me because on one hand, it totally makes sense that he is A, like, this whole time. Like, especially with the digging up of the grave, he could have dug it up because he got off with the suspicion one time for killing her, so now he's got to make sure the actual evidence is off of her, so that's why he dug it up. And he hated them for, you know, making him look guilty and being suspicious of him and all that stuff, so maybe this is his chance to pin it on them and get out with it. I don't really know. But then also it doesn't make sense because he's the one obviously who called Emily to warn to get her out. Like, the whole, like, you have 1 minute to get out.
But I think that that's because the A-team wasn't in with Nate.
So you think that they were just trying to help her because they didn't want her to die from Nate? They wanted to...
Exactly. She's still part of their plan.
Yeah. See, it totally, it goes either way for me, and I don't really care either way because it was such an awesome shock that I was just like, yes, you're doing something good for once.
It was such a good episode. I was so scared.
I was happy.
And it was like such a good ending.
Like, while the whole thing was going down with Nate, I was like, yes, 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 you called this. This is amazing. And I just loved every minute of it. And then when they showed Toby, it was like, but like the best kind of shock. I was so excited. So I don't really care either way. I mean, it does make sense that he's like faking the A-team because that whole backstory of, you know, like when Spencer's being like, I can't tell you, and he's like, I'll find out for myself. Allison talked about this in her video. Her channel is Allison Vlogs for her vlog channel, or Amarice on her beauty channel, and she was kind of bringing up, you know, that she thinks Toby is not really A. He faked being A to get the information because Spencer wouldn't tell her. And it makes sense because if you go back a couple of episodes when Mona was in the hospital, well, I think I called Mona Maya at one point.
I think
I did. Yeah. So, yeah, when Mona was in the hospital, they're like, oh, you have a visitor, and you're kind of like, who's visiting her? So I think that's when Toby being like, F these broads, I want to join the team. So I think that makes sense If he's part of the fake A-team, that would be when he joins. And then the whole thing with Mona being able to get in and out of Radley whenever she pleases, it kind of makes me think Ren does have something to do with it. Because then it's like, oh, why did Ren have Hannah convince the board to let her stay unless they were trying to get her to stay because they need her for the A-team?
And now, I mean, it's clear that she can come and go as she pleases, so what else is she doing?
Oh, Ezra's baby, too.
Yes.
So I kind of think that this Maggie broad, well, first of all, I think Arya is so stupid. Like, when everyone's like, oh, you should tell him, excuse me, what are you gonna say? Oh, P.S. when I took the train to track down your ex-girlfriend, like, okay, psycho.
And I made up a whole fake story and name about
right, like, he's not gonna be mad that you didn't tell him that he has a child. He's gonna be mad that you went out of your way to stalk down his ex-girlfriend, which he wasn't even communicating with. Like, psycho alert.
And he told you to leave it alone.
Yeah, that's crazy. When Maggie was being like, oh, for Malcolm's sake, I have to decide what to do, I don't think it's Ezra's kid. I think it's someone else's kid, and she just knows Ezra was super loaded. So maybe his mom is still paying her, or maybe she stopped, and she's gonna try to figure out how she can manipulate this situation to get more money. And so, like, when he's like, oh, you know, she lives alone, BS. I think she's probably living with some other dude, has his child, and she's just trying to totally go on the scam train for money. And another, like, reaction, like, Emily, I'm sorry, when you're talking to the cops, there's no way they just be like, oh yeah, go talk to your friends. Like, you just killed someone. You kind of gotta tell them, you know, like, oh, this is why I stabbed this guy. They're not just like, oh, honey, go talk to your crying friend. Like, no, that's not how this works.
Someone got shot and someone got killed. That's fine.
When Jenna came to talk to Emily and she saw that extra cup when it was Paige, by the way, who, when you're sitting out with your girlfriend on the step stools at someone else's house, is like, I'm gonna go take a shower. Like, what? So a casual shower in the middle of your conversation?
In the middle of our talk.
Hey, Gina, can you finish this? I'm gonna go take a shower. Like, no big deal. No, that's so, okay.
Nobody does that.
But whatever. So when Jenna, like, comes up and she's like, be careful who you spend your time with, and she thought she was with Nate. So I think that's why she was all freaked out, because she knows that Nate killed Maya. That's why, you know, all the whole thing.
And now she knows that he saw, like, that she saw him and he knows that.
And this is obviously not interesting since it's post-finale and everyone already knows this. But we were thinking this before the finale.
We connected the dots.
We put all the dots together. So that's why when we were I put it on Twitter, I was like, I have to say this out loud. But you know what? I did the exact same thing with the Ezra theory, and that was just, I look like a big moron.
At least this time we waited to do the video until after the finale.
Me and Allison were joking that we thought it was Hannah's mom's church boyfriend.
Oh yeah, he's
you just found this in the church. We just found this flash drive. Good one. Not fooling anyone. So if Toby really is faking that he's on the A-team, he's only been there for a month.
Right.
So who dug up the body? Because it wouldn't have been Toby, because it was after that.
Exactly.
That kind of goes with the crazy twin thing, because we think if it was the twin, like actually Allison, she would have dug the body up to get the teeth out, which is why she gave them the teeth. Because the only way you can identify bodies. I think that if it was the twin, like that's the whole theory, the storyline's going
that's
with.
The one thing that would prove it.
That makes sense that she dug it up, because it would be like, I'm getting rid of the identification that it's not me. They're sitting in the hospital and Emily's mom's just like, oh, Caleb just got out of surgery. Like, oh, totally nonchalant. My daughter almost just got stabbed to death. She killed someone and her friend got shot. Like, are you kidding me? There's no way her mom would just be like, oh, he's getting out of surgery, he's fine.
It's fine.
Like, I would be like, oh my god, I can't believe I let my daughter almost get murdered, spend the night with a murderer. Like, what is wrong with you?
Who are you hanging out with?
Oh, yeah, especially if you're all, like, her other friend's been killed, other people have been in jail. Like, once you start to think, I'm not letting my kid go places, I'm gonna move out of this town.
Right.
Normal people things to think. Right as they're like from the hospital, so it's maybe been about a solid 2 hours at max, because he's into surgery and everything, so 2 to 3 hours since then. There is no way from that time that crime was committed in some back alley lighthouse that the news traveled over to the courthouse, she got him off, and they made it over to the hospital.
Right. And why would he be at the hospital?
And why would Garrett even be at the hospital?
There's no point for that.
No, unless Garrett's now her cat man, and she just travels around with him. Okay, well, that was a good time. I want to hear all your thoughts and predictions, what you think happened, what you think of Toby, if you think he's actually bad or whatever. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to hear.
So leave your comments down below or a video response. Thanks for watching!